I think most signs of what's going on emotionally and mentally and spiritually shows up in our physical lives. I think that's usually how we know that we're not okay. So that's often in our bodies, whether we're experiencing anxiety or being overweight or a heart attack or frequent yeast infections. Let's just get real. You know, all the things that say you're not okay, like your body is sending you a message, I'm not well. Um, Also, outside of I think our physical life is not just our physical body, it's anything in our body and outside of our body. So those are the things that you see in your finances. Um, your car is a mess. Your house is a mess. How else do we usually know that we're not well? Our relationships are an indicator to what is going on with us internally. So it's not so much that he crazy, but if he crazy and you with him, what does that mean about you? You know, so let's get real. But you know, the only relationship we're ever really having is a relationship with ourselves. So if we're with a dysfunctional person, that is an indicator to our level of self-esteem, our level of self-love. When I was in a relationship with a real dysfunctional person, I had to admit that when I got myself together, I did not believe myself worthy of what I actually wanted. I didn't, you know, and so all of that stuff that's going on in our bodies or outside of us is an indicator of the internal life. So that's just the message that we need to go within and do that work. Springboards off of what she was saying because my favorite scripture, and I should know where it comes from, I don't, but I use it all the time, and that is, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. And for me, a huge part of being well was telling the whole truth. Like the whole truth. And about who I am, who I was, what I really feel, what I really want. And for me, being a little black child, that involved breaking some major rules that I had learned as a black girl. One of them was what goes on in this house. Okay, then you learn that too. Stays in this house. And I really had to give myself permission not to protect these people by holding their secrets, keeping their stuff, acting like it didn't happen, acting like I was okay. And I had to tell the truth. Like the whole truth, like you was mean to me. And I was sweet. Why were you mean to me? And I wasn't okay. Yep, I went to school. Yep, I got degrees, but I have anxiety attacks. I have low self-esteem. I don't feel good, and I wasn't okay. I'm not okay. Right? Like telling that kind of truth. Some of the other rules that I had to break that I learned as a woman, you can't tell no man everything about you. They can't know all that stuff. You don't need to tell him all that. But here's the thing. If I want him to love me, then he has to know me and all my stuff. And I really had to get through those messages around pretending or not telling him what I was really doing when I was 18. You know? Like seriously. Or 21 or all the decisions that I had made and all the things that really happened. Because I want you to love her too. Because guess who loves her? I do. I'm not ashamed of her. I'm not hiding her. You know, she's a part of who got me here. She's a part of why I was able to just do what I just did. You just met her too, you know, like let's just get real about real life and who we really are and how we really show up. So for me, I encourage all of my clients, I can only help you to the extent that you are willing to be honest. And telling the truth, I have found so much God in that. It really does just free you up in so many ways. I mean, the radical truth. Even if you can only write it down, start by just getting it out and letting that go. Okay.
Amen. Thank you.
I think the most important, because you're women of color in this room, I will actually recommend one thing. And that is to get in touch with your own feelings again. I think a lot of times we talk about how how black men are emotionally unavailable. But I've actually found that black women are really emotionally unavailable to themselves. So they take care of everybody else all the time. And when I'm asking you, but aren't you tired? There's no consideration of her own feelings. Aren't you stressed? You know? And I think for us as black girls, we learn we're kind of socialized like boys, in the sense that men are taught, don't cry, toughen up, da da da. Well, black girls are taught, and you better not cry. Fix your face. Stop crying before I give you something to cry about. All of those things. So black girls learn very early how to show up like we're okay when we're not. Like we're not okay. And I have clients come in my office and they tell me these trauma stories, like trauma. I'm like, and he did what? And then what? And what? And she's just telling it like out of her head. And it takes weeks for us to get out of her head and into her heart where she can like cry. Like, girl, you need to have that cry after all that you're dealing with. So I think if I could recommend anything for the ladies in this room, feel yourself and really, really expand your emotional vocabulary. I find that many of us, and y'all stay with me for a second, are emotionally retarded. And I use the word retarded because it means stunted. So to stunt growth, right? That's what that means, to stunt growth. And when we're 4 and 5 years old and we learn, and you better not cry, the emotional growth that's supposed to happen stops. It stops. And so we have to go back years and years and cry for the 8-year-old and cry for the 14-year-old and cry for the 6, because we didn't cry for her. Like we just keep going and keep going. So I always challenge my clients, like, I need you to get beyond I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm happy. That's the emotional vocabulary of a 4-year-old. What are you really? Are you devastated? Are you exhausted? Are you confused? Are you heartbroken? They're words that better describe. Are you mad at him or are you disappointed? Those are different. You know, so really, really working with us on getting in touch with our feelings and letting the whole strong black woman thing go. Like, please, y'all, let it go. I'm strong enough to say, you're hurting my feelings. And I actually get more love and support from that place, from my softer place, from the place where I let people know I can be hurt, I can be affected, I can be disappointed. You can break my heart. You can break my heart. You can hurt me. Like, really. So really teaching us to be vulnerable and emotionally honest and present. That would be the only thing. I could recommend like 10, but just get that one. If nothing else.
It's for women to soar.
Mm-hmm.
And you spoke of crying and our emotions. So as parents, sometimes we allow our children to cry about things, you know, when they're little kids.
Mm-hmm.
But if our kids are crying about the same thing at age 18 that they was crying about at 2,
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about stunting,
Stunting. Mm-hmm.
and we see that they're not growing in that area. They're right there. They're crying about the same thing. So when is it time to stop crying and say, get a hold of yourself and let's soar?
Well, I think for us, and I'm not saying we have to cry about it all the time, but I think it's so important that we really, really learn how to do it because we learn so early not to, and we learn to judge it. So, for example, I was in the grocery store one time, and I saw this little, y'all seen this scenario, this little white child, like flipping out about not getting something that they wanted, right? And the little black girl in me was like, I wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have been acting like that, whatever. But what I got to see, I think a part of me was like a little bit jealous that this 4-year-old was allowed to cry about disappointment. Like he's not getting these Lucky Charms. He's not getting the Lucky Charms, but he's really sad about it. And I mean, I had a job that I applied for that I really, really wanted, and I didn't get it. And I mean, I had the Lucky Charms cry, like I didn't get my way, you know? And for him, and I saw his mom have this conversation with him, and she was kind of escorting him into how to deal with that. Like, okay, I know you're not going to get these Lucky Charms, and it's okay that you're sad. You're not getting them. And you can cry. You can't kick, but you can cry. Right? And like, so he's getting from the point where he's not falling out on the floor. Now I'm not going to kick. Now I'm going to learn. Like, sometimes I'm just not going to get my way. And he's being escorted through how to deal with disappointment instead of, don't you look like you think you going. You know? And how so early we figuring out where to put it. Like, where to put it in our bodies. And we are anxious. We are depressed. You know, so early. So, for us, I don't want to say, I think we think that if we cry about it, we're not going to keep going. Or if we cry about it, we're going to fall apart. Or we won't get it done. Like, no, you can do those things simultaneously. Like, you can cry about it and keep going. But I think when you do, you reduce your chances of the headache. And you reduce your chances of the ulcer and the IBS and all the other stuff that comes when you are the 4-year-old who put it up, quit, or even started acting like you didn't want things. I just act like I don't want nothing. And I was saying on a panel yesterday, okay, I'm going to say it real quick. So I was saying something on a panel yesterday about how, even our sense of deservedness is eroded. When we go to the store, before we even walk in there, we get a message: don't ask for nothing, don't touch nothing, don't embarrass me in this store. Right? So we can't even tell somebody we want Lucky Charms. Like, for real. For real. And so, really, many of us judge our own desires and the things that we even want. We play small. We walk around unworthy of anything. And having learned very early, don't ask, don't touch, don't make noise, don't breathe, don't cry, my God. And many of us are perpetuating these messages. So, really working on becoming more emotionally healthy for ourselves, I think it gives, we're less triggered by our children's emotional responses. Because once we can handle our own, we can handle theirs. We can let her be mad. She's grounded. She has a right to be mad. I'd be mad if I was grounded. She ain't going nowhere. Why can't she be mad? You know what I mean? And it's the whole, fix your face. What is she supposed to look like? She's not going nowhere. We really, really, really have to work on getting that part. I forgot what the original question was. But I'm done.
Just one more question. We have about 3 more minutes left.